This is Your Life, a program for all Americans.
This is your life. Today, we're going to accost a man who has become truly a legend in the ATU. This is a man whose sober demeanor has been a port in every storm the ATU has endured over the last 25 years. I'm referring, of course, to the recently retired president of Local 1277 in Los Angeles, Mr. Neil Silver. Come on up, Neil. Where are you, Neil? Neil? There, where'd he go?
He left.
Oh, there he comes. Have a seat here, Neil. All right, have a seat.
I did, over there.
Now sit down. Bet you didn't expect this, did you?
No.
All right, thank you very much. Now, yes, Neil, this is your life. It all started on June 21, 1944, the day you were born. You and your older brother were known to run around like two wild Indians in the Bronx, where you grew up, developing an early affinity for feather headdresses. You even played with real bows and arrows. That was until you shot your brother in the leg. Your parents tried to educate you, but you wound up in a hairdressing school doing perms for showgirls. Your real desire, however, was to become a musician, a drummer to be exact. Unfortunately, your musical career came to an end when your parents decided you needed to get a real job. With the help of an uncle, you became a card-carrying member of the Sailors Union of the Pacific and shipped out of the port of New York as a merchant seaman at the tender age of 17. Your seaman stint was rudely interrupted by the Vietnam War in the 1960s, and you ended up in the Navy, working in the engine room of the Brinkley Bass, a ship which operated with distinction until it hit a destroyer and everyone on board was stripped of their honors. You returned to work as a merchant seaman, eventually raising havoc around the world 3 times. You met your future wife, Carol, who worked for the Sailors Union in Los Angeles. Unsurprisingly, you talked her ears off until she finally agreed to marry you. In 1974, you got a job with the Southern California Rapid Transit District. You passed the test to become a mechanic, but really didn't know what to do when they put a wrench in your hand. So you became a bus washer. Unfortunately, you couldn't drive a bus either and crashed 3 buses into the same light pool during your first year on the job. But that was great because you attended your first series of hearings and you needed the assistance of a shop steward. Well, you yourself were appointed shop steward in 1976 in order to save the buses and light poles. You were elected local vice president in 1980 and president in 1986. You came to prominence in the International in 1989 when a strike forced the union to move its convention to Los Angeles at the last minute. Since that time, you have enhanced the solemnity of our conventions with the impressive gravitas you bring to the all-important nominating process. Well, don't take it from me. Witness this wonderful classic nomination speech of Oscar Owens in 2007.
Mr. President. Good morning.
Good morning.
Listen, before I make, hopefully, the third and final second of Brother Oscar Owens for International Secretary-Treasurer, I would like to thank the executive officers, and especially the staff, for the lovely, lovely reception we had last night.
Thank you.
This by far was one of the best receptions I've ever attended. Probably one of the few I'll ever remember. I was pretty sober most of the time. I mean, the food was excellent. The seating was really nice. It was a nice touch, and really enjoyed that. And of course, the chocolate, at least chocolate had, said the right move on it. Some of you stuck around at 10 o'clock last night. You saw all of the international IVPs leave quite abruptly, and I think they were making the right move. I heard there was X-Lax in that chocolate. I tried to warn them not to eat it. I told them Warren had a sense of humor.
Oh, but Neil, you didn't stop there.
Anyway, get back onto the subject. I do rise in second of Brother Oscar Owens. Yesterday, we heard a speech from the minister who told us that he was out, well, maybe not him directly, in the Sahara Desert, when my people started the first transit company out there, walking around. It's true. It's true. We had the first camel. In those days, transit was simple. It was either one hump or two, a lump or two.
Neil, you were an outstanding member of the Laws Committee. You were revered for your absolute honesty, and you always dressed appropriately for their meetings. Neil, your honesty extended to all the persons you nominated for international office, particularly your fellow Californian, International Vice President Bill McLean.
President of Local 1277 in Los Angeles, also chairman of the California Conference Board, and Supreme Commander of the Jewish Caucus. Anyhow, it is a great pleasure and privilege to place the name of William McLean for the 7th International Vice President spot. I've known William for quite a while, many years. He's an excellent, excellent driver. He comes in, it's true, he comes in from the airport, I pick him up, he takes my car and drives me anywhere I have to go. He never hits the bumps, he never hit ba-doom, 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 ba-doom on the free guys and never moves. He never moves, the head never turns. And he's very professional about that.
Now, of course, Neil, everyone appreciated your subtle sense of humor.
Let me clear something up about the driving shit. I promised my wife I would come back alive. I always questioned whether he had a license or not. He did tell me he had cataract surgery, got some new lenses, and he doesn't need those buttons to find his way down the road.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome International Vice President Bill McLean.
Good morning, good morning. All of us in our earlier lives have periods of times where we don't want to talk about what we did and who we saw and where we've been. You already know that this joker was a seaman. And I don't know what he did with his seamen in every port. But Warren George was able to find, and you saw a part of a picture up there, an illegitimate son from the Philippines. And he's here today to thank Dad. Hi, Dad. I'm really, really happy to see you. Usually, when the kid speaks, tells the truth all the time. And if you notice the picture up there, that wasn't a bad case of Viagra. Dad, you're a real stud. The nose gets bigger. Dad, you're a genius. Oh. Oh, boy. Dad, can you take me home? Remember Mom? Neil's in a serious world, in an ugly world, where across the table, oftentimes you and I, we want to say, after being told, I'm taking your money, I'm taking your health care, I'm taking your pension, we want to say, fuck you. But we don't say that. We do not. I know when I was brought on staff, Don Hanson had to follow me and report how many times I said that. And I know I didn't, because Neil taught me one thing. When there's an empty space and evil is in front of you, you tell a story. You tell a joke. You wear them out with humor, because your anger will not produce a benefit. But your story will bring you to them, your life to them, your personality to them. They'll get to come out and understand who we are. Of all the people in the world that I've known, he comes off as a clown. Sometimes there was a lady, a negotiator in Corona. One day we were at the table and she was really upset. You people, Neil's next to me, don't understand what we can. I can't do this, I can't do that. You guys got to get serious with your proposals. You got to get smart. Stop clowning around. So guess what? The next day, we come into the room, sit down. Booby, as is affectionately known, at that time, had a full head of blue, green, and orange hair with a little red nose. This isn't exaggeration. We sat there. He's in a clown costume. I'm next to him, and all I did is I looked at my watch. She shows up. Her side is starting to laugh. But if they laugh, they're in trouble. So a lot of hemorrhoids ruptured that morning. And she suddenly sees Neil, and he's going like this. I was waiting and waiting and waiting. And you know, Neil, this is a record for him. 45 minutes of silence in that room with 9 people. Not a word. And knowing Neil, you know who spoke up first. Neil. And what does he say? Hi, baby. The man has spent a life of care, a life of courage. Sometimes he acts stupid, like a fox. Sometimes he's irritating as shit. I've seen him go into a room that he knows nobody, not one person in that room. And let's say we're trying to get him out of the hotel and back home. He'll go in there, he'll stay 45 minutes, and everybody in the room knows him by the time he gets out the door. The man loves human beings, has worked with them well, has represented his folks to the degree with which they're handsomely paid and respected. In my years as a business agent, I never had a strike. Never. One strike in Los Angeles was driven by 2 facts. One, the employer thought this guy was a crook, and they were dead wrong. And 2, they thought when they told him we're going to take away retiree medical, they could get away with it. This was 10 years ago. We had bargained 14 months. Impasse, impasse, impasse. Brought in the mediator. Impasse, impasse, impasse. We gave him an ultimatum. Our health care costs us about $2.2 million a month. And we'd continue to bargain as long as they put that money in, because our health care money had shrunk while we were failing to get an agreement. 2 o'clock in the morning, mediator comes back and says, they're not going to put any more money in your health care. That means next week, ain't got health care for families, retirees. He says, looks to me, says, what do we do? I said, you're on strike. What? What? Yeah, you're on strike. Okay. So I go back to my hotel, turn on the TV, because I'm catching a flight out. On the TV, national TV, he is rallying a division. I'd say about 100, 150 people. Let him know that the employers refused to bargain, refused to pay decent a wage, refused to continue to handle retiree health care. He's going like this at the end, after he accentuates the damage done. He says, come on, let's go. He finishes with, let's burn the place down. Now, that's national TV, and it's true. Burn the place down. Spoken in jest. But who in the world would know that that was simply in a serious, traumatic situation, that was levity brought to bear? Because, I don't know, it was only 6 weeks later, 2,400 members, 12 people crossed the picket line, 6 to 7 weeks. We negotiated a settlement with the then Councilman Villaraigosa, soon to be mayor. And unknown to most of the transit district employees then, part of the deal was that the first 5 assholes who caused the strike because he wasn't a crook had to go. By the end of 2 years, all 5 of the top 5 persons are gone because they had no respect for their employees, no respect for their work, and no respect for the value. And that was the premise to settle that contract, and it's the premise he used to settle all his contracts. I miss him. I don't see him often enough. His wife is a treasure. I mean, could you imagine living with this for over 40 years? And you know, the guy's sharp, right? He just wanders into the union office and makes a move on the clerk. You want to hear a joke, baby? The man is a precious man. His life was filled with value, and he brought it to us and to his members. And on behalf of the GEB and all of ATU, thank you. Thank you for being you. I'll give the baby back. And he can take his son home with him.
Go away. It's you. And Neil.
You want a hat here?
What?
Never mind.
I got to straighten him out.
Yeah.
He's from the West Coast. Guys, sit down. Come on. Sit down. Stand up. Sit down.
Found
Listen.
a rock yesterday.
Yeah, that's mine.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
Okay. Neil and I are both going to retire and go into comedy. But anyway, I'll be the straight man. So, Neil, first of all, I got to straighten McLean out. McLean, booby is something else. It's bubby. Bubby, okay?
It's Canadian. What do you want?
It's Canadian, that's it. Anyway, Neil, you know, as you've heard today and you all know, Neil has not just been an exceptional officer, but somebody who has given life not only to his local, but to the whole ATU, to our conventions, to our parties. He was our shop steward in fighting Jimmy LaSala to try and get rid of turkey dinners. I guess that's become an inside joke, Jim. Jim, are you mad at me?
You don't even know that.
Anyway, Neil, we have this small plaque to thank you for all the work that you've done continuously in all the time I've been involved in the ATU, and to wish you well on your retirement. And thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you. You're a photographer? You got to stand. Let's stand. Step back here.
Where's the check? Not like I asked for go watch anything. I just a little check would work.
Enough comedy. Let's take a photo. Oscar, Bill, come on. Where's Javier?
Get your hand off my wallet, Oscar.
Got it? Thanks, Neil.
I ain't leave when they search on the way out.
No, Neil.
Okay, leave.
We're not through with
We're
you
not
yet.
done with Neil, that's right.
Yes.
I got that.
Brothers and sisters, we will now have the traditional ATU rap. Today, done by the Reverend Fred Westbrook. And the subject of this rap will be none other than Neil Silver.
Hey, listen, family, y'all can help me with this.
I hope I didn't make you angry in my trip.
Hey, everybody, let me have your attention. I'd like to welcome you to the 57th Convention. There's a lot of people here that's ordinary Joes, but there's one main man we want you to know. He hails from Cali on the West Coast, a leader in transit. This man ain't no joke. He has a wife named Carol who is the real deal because she's sticking with my main man, Neil. When I say Neil, you say Silver. Neil. Silver. Neil. Silver. When I say Neil, you say Silver. Neil. Silver. Neil. Silver. He hired in at the RTD. That's when he started his legacy. He's been working in transit since '74, and the cries of the people he'd never ignored. So when they wanted someone new to represent, they elected Neil as the president. He served them well with passion and fire until 2013 when he had to retire. Job well done, Neil. We hate for you to leave us, Did you know he's the president of the Jewish caucus? When I say Neil, you say Silver. Neil. Neil. When I say Neil, you say Silver. Neil. Neil. Bless you, Neil.
Hey, fooled him again, Reverend.
Well, thanks, everybody. This is Your Life, Neil Silver.
I'm practically speechless. This really was a shock, and it was so nice of everyone to do this, and I had no idea at all, you know. And I guess what people say, what goes around comes around, you get it back 10 times, so whatever. But a little bit of history, and it's official business here as my last position left is the chairman of the Jewish caucus, and when I first came in, they had a gentleman named Harry Cohn out of Winnipeg, and he was the chairman of the Jewish caucus, and he took over a phone booth, let our people in it, you know. And when Harry retired, I reluctantly stepped in and took over as the supreme chief of the Jewish caucus after talking to myself for quite a while. Others saw the light and joined. Wasn't a lot of others, but there was a start, you know. And we came in and we took over the elevator, and I claimed that we were going places, and we did. We did. And at this time, I'm going to relinquish my position as chairman of the Jewish caucus and leave it open to a fight. There's at least 2 more running around somewhere. And hopefully one of them will press the right button and get us out of the elevator. Maybe we could find something to do, you know? But as everyone knows that has attended these conventions, nobody gets elected in this place without talking to the caucus. Anyway, thank you all so much. This is my family, and I am thankful, grateful, and shocked. Thank you again.